Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Skyrim Stories. My name is LD and thank you for watching. Today we're going to be reading Mixed Unit Tactics in the 5 Years' War, Volume 1 by Codus Calonis. The legions could learn from the unconventional tactics used by the Khajiit in the 5 Years' War against Valenwood. I was stationed at the Sphinx-Moth Legion Fort on the border near Dune and witnessed many of the northern skirmishes firsthand. The war started with the so-called slaughter of Torval. The Khajiit claimed that the Bosmer invaded the city without provocation and killed over 1,000 citizens before being driven off by reinforcements from a nearby jungle tribe. The Bosmer claimed that the attack was in retaliation for Khajiit bandits who were attacking wood caravans headed for Valenwood. In the spring of 3E 396, the war moved closer to Fort Sphinx-Moth. I was posted on lookout and saw parts of the conflict. I later spoke with both Khajiit and Bosmer who fought in the battle, and it will serve as an excellent example of how the Khajiit used a mixture of ground and tree units to win the war. The Khajiit began the fighting in an unusual way by sending tree-cutting teams of Cathairat and the fearsome Sinchirat, or Battle Cats, Thundercats, ho! Into the outskirts of Valenwood's forests. When word reached the Bosmer that trees were being felled, allegedly a crime in the strange Bosmeri religion, a unit of archers were dispatched from larger conflicts in the south. The Bosmers were thus goaded into splitting their forces into smaller groups. The Bosmer archers took up position in the remaining trees, whose branches were now 20 or more feet apart, allowing some light into the forest floor. The Bosmer bent the remaining trees with their magics into small fortifications from which to fire their bows. When the tree cutters arrived the next morning, a half-dozen Khajiit fell to the Bosmer arrows in the first valley. After that, the Khajiit took large wooden shields from the backs of the Sencharat and made a crude shelter. The Khajiit, even the enormous Sencharat, were able to hide between the shelter and one of the larger trees. When it became apparent that the Khajiit would not leave their shelter, some Bosmer chose to descend and engage the Khajiit sword to claw. When the Bosmer were nearly upon the shelter, one of the Khajiit began playing on a native instrument of plucked metal bars. This was a signal of some kind, and a small group of man-like Ohms and Ohms Rat emerged from covered holes on the forest floor. Although outnumbered, they were attacking from behind by surprise and won the ground quickly. The Bosmer archers in the trees would have still won the battle were they not having troubles of their own. A group of Dagi and Dagirat, two of the less common forms of Khajiit, who live in the trees of the Tenmar forest, jumped from one tree to another under a magical cover of silence. They took up positions in the higher branches that could not hold the Bosmer's weight. When the signal came, they used their claws and either torches or spells of fire, accounts from the two survivors I spoke with vary on this point, to distract the archers while the battle on the ground took place. A few of the archers were able to flee, but most were killed. Apparently, the Daji and the Dajirat have more magical ability than is widely believed if they were able to keep themselves magically silenced for so long. One of the surviving Bosmer told me that he saw a few ordinary cats among the Dagi, and even claimed that these ordinary cats are known as Alfik, and that they were the spellcasters. But Bosmer are almost as unreliable as the Khajiit when it comes to the truth, and I cannot believe that a house cat can cast spells. At the end of the day, the Khajiit lost perhaps a half a dozen fighters out of a force of no more than 4 dozen, while the Bosmer lost nearly the entire company of archers. The survivors were unable to report back that a second company of archers arrived, and this strategy was repeated again, with similar results. Finally, a much larger force was sent, and the Bosmore won that battle with the help of the native animals of Valenwood. That third skirmish and the Khajiit response I will discuss in the second volume of the series. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Skyrim Stories. Once again, I'm your host, LD. If you liked it, please leave a like below or subscribe so you can watch more, because we will be doing more of these. Every time I catch a new book, I just read it now, because, I've found so many. We've got plenty to go through, so stay tuned for more Skyrim Stories.